This video was made possible by viewers like you over on Patreon. Check out the link in the description to hear how you can help make shows like this be even more amazing. Hey everyone, Kaijin Kumba here, and welcome back to another episode of Witch Ninja, the series that looks at media's most popular shinobi to see which are good and which are bad. What?
It took us 2 years to finally get back to Dragon Ball's Murasaki for Witch Ninja?
Alright, I get it, I'm not exactly fashionably late here. Ever since posting the original video, I've had a ton of people asking me where part 2 was. But understand, back in 2021, there was another scare of Shueisha going after content creators. Again. I think it turned out just to be some schmuck abusing the system and Shueisha had nothing to do with it. However, knowing the long history with big-name Japanese anime producers and YouTube, I hope you can understand why I've waited this long. But No Man's Land seems pretty clear right now, and my patrons have been chomping at the bits this month for me to finally explain my ace in the hole when it comes to Murasaki of Dragon Ball, so let's jump right back in. So, for those of you who haven't been waiting a literal 2-year time for this vid to come out, we dived into the dozen-some-odd jutsus and ninja-isms that Murasaki executed in episode 37, Ninja Murasaki Sanjo. And yeah, give the man credit, everything he did in that episode was in line with a lot of historically recorded jutsus, only
he was absolutely terrible at them on a philosophical and executional level. Look, Goku's the better ninja here. In the previous episode, while Murasaki has been obviously faking just how good a stereotypical ninja he is, Goku's been able to best him each time by actually executing the ninja technique, despite being a child dressed in orange with spiky contrasting hair and throwing around energy blasts. Don't.
Well, I still got something up my sleeve, so let's keep going with episode 38, Osoru Bere Bunshin no Jutsu.
Be afraid, huh? Well, judging from Murasaki's track record thus far, I'm anything but fearful.
Anyway, after Goku took a Kusabi Boomerang Shuriken to the back of the head, he just stands back up to the other shock of Murasaki, who runs away screaming.
Man, good ninja. I would have given him points for jumping tree to tree, keeping high in the air in the vein of the Tanuki Gakure no Jutsu, but he just ends up Olympicsing around trees, throwing more apparating Shuriken at Goku, only to run back to his house while Goku gathers up the Juji Shuriken. Why does Murasaki do this? To show off his Tatami Gaishi Jutsu. Why? What are you doing, man? You're trapped in the house with this little kung fu nightmare who is armed, by the way, and you're trying to show off your ninja technique that isn't even real? Yeah, I'm sorry to let down all the Baiken and Greninja mains, but for as much shinobi bombast as this jutsu has, it just couldn't physically work. Have you ever tried flipping a tatami mat? Cause unless you break through the foundation of the house, these things ain't flipping unless you pick them up. Tatami mats are laid over semi-flat or completely flat sections of floor, meaning there's no space to give the mat enough torque for it to rotate upwards. So have fun breaking your foot trying to get the thing to flip. Now granted, Murasaki's not kick-flipping tatami like the ninja trope shows, and his floor is hard wood underneath the tatami mats, but he's apparently got Spider-Man powers because he's able to lift up a mat just by putting a hand over it without any grip. Now I gotta tell ya, tatami aren't light. Despite being made of thrush, rice straw, and wood, they're actually pretty heavy. And unless you have a pole loop attached to it, you're gonna need 2 hands and nails to pick up a tatami mat. Not exactly easy to do as a reaction to being stabbed, shot, or shurikened at. But apparently that's not Murasaki's problem. Rather, he just runs out of tatami mat to flip to block Goku's shuriken throws and... Do you see? Do you see what I've been talking about? This is one of the only instances a shuriken could actually kill someone. A mortal blow with a shuriken is one of the oldest tropes in pop media ninja, and this little gremlin actually does it, rather than the bona fide ninja. I'm telling you, Goku is the better shinobi here.
Alright, you made your point. Somehow Murasaki survives this and is yet again chased by Goku leading into a massive indoor pond, wherein he lobs another Torinoko smoke bomb at Goku and produces 2 Mizugumo slippers to get across an apparently piranha-filled pond.
Wrong again, idiot.
Mizugumo never worked like this. Come on, man, you've warned them in Iga. You know these didn't work like this.
Yeah, I admit, actually having stood in Mizugumo, these things are solid wood, heavy, and super wide. Never mind the fact that these would be too heavy to actually walk on water in, but just lugging the freaking things around would be both cumbersome and attention drawing.
Not to mention, Mizugumo were myth busted like, what, 15 years ago? There's just not enough surface tension with these slippers to actually let you float on water, let alone walk on it.
Right. Instead, there's a new theory going around that rather than one for each foot, Shinobi would use one larger scale Mizugumo to slip their legs into and then tread water like a pool floaty.
Well, sure, you have better surface tension, but that's still a giant chunk of wood you're carrying around, so I still have to severely doubt this was a real and portable Shinobi Jutsu. Alright man, you're running out of episode, and so far you're 0-2. So where's this ace in the hole you kept talking about?
Right here. Finally done screwing around, Murasaki lets out a sharp whistle as the skies turn dark and a sinister aura shrouds him. Suddenly, seemingly multiple copies of Murasaki appear behind him, all speaking in perfect unison, taunting Goku. Then, when the kid's confused, the five attack with their own independent weapons. Surprisingly, they start to actually get the better of Goku, who has to run off and hide in a tree.
Bro, this is the Bunshin no Jutsu, literally the most frequent technique we've talked about in Witch Ninja and is likely the most trope shinobi stereotype in history. Criminy, it's in the name of the episode! What's so special about this?
Because this is the first time I've ever seen it done right with one of the most likely ways it was ever done. While in hiding, Goku slowly starts to realize that the five copies of Murasaki are acting awfully strange as they talk to one another in confusion rather than acting as one sentient body. This is because, in actuality, Murasaki has employed his four other twin brothers to help him execute this technique. In Witch Ninja, we've always explained that the Bunshin no Jutsu was theoretically executed in one of three ways. Moving so fast that you leave an after image, which is such a cockamamie concept that no human can move that fast. Using literal strawmen dressed in ninja's clothes, which could work, but would be both risky and cumbersome to set up as well as only functioning in low light conditions. But then we got Murasaki, who, for the first time in any popular media I've ever seen, having other ninjas look, dress, act, and talk similar to oneself. And through coordinated movements, confound the opponent into thinking you're actually one entity. And that's exactly what the Murasaki bros are doing. It literally doesn't get more legit than this. And what did Goku do to one-up Murasaki? Apparently, moving so fast he leaves an after image. Now, I'm not stupid. This is Dragon Ball, so of course fantasy goofiness like this exists. But if we're talking real, feasible shinobi jutsus, this is the first and so far only time a pop media shinobi did the Bunshin by the books in the most believable way. And speaking of his brothers, each one of them is using a traditionally ninja-oriented weapon. We have the basic Tachi, the weighted Kusarigama, Kiridashi-style shuriken used optimally in mid to close range, which the Murasaki brothers do, the Fukiya Jutsu pipe blowgun, and then there's just regular gun. And all of these, yes, even regular gun, was actively used by shinobi throughout history. I mean, geez, especially regular gun. And, considering each of these five brothers are exclusively using and showing immense control over a singular weapon, it means that each has a likely long-trained specialization in that weapon, alluding to the idea that the martial part of a ninja's role was not from this idea that ninjutsu was a martial art, but rather martial art supplemented ninjutsu. And even though Goku bests Murasaki, forcing him to run away to get Android 8, that's kinda what a ninja really would do when overpowered. Escape completely or escape to a backup plan. Look, I'll admit Murasaki isn't the best ninja I've seen in media. This is Dragon Ball, so of course there's gonna be some lunacy. But I can't bring myself to be a pure skeptic here.
Well, duh, that was my job this episode.
I can't help the fact that despite how, well, wrong Murasaki was with his jutsus, it was still really interesting to see just how much digging Toriyama went into shinobi history to create this character, and how sly I think he was to incorporate the rarest seen but most feasible form of Bunshin no Jutsu. But that's my hot take anyway. What do y'all think? Is this just Dragon Ball being Dragon Ball, or do you think Toriyama dug deep into Japan's history to make Murasaki as memorable as he was? Let me know in the comments, and a big thank you to the folks who make this and every other video possible, my good culture beans over on Patreon, who keep supporting me month after month to make goofy cultural analysis videos. I have to agree with you all, it was high time that we wrapped up Murasaki, and don't worry, we still have plenty of time to dig around with the other poll choices later on. But for now, if you want to learn even more about not just Ninja, but the whole world we live in through games, anime, and movies, sub up, get notified, and check back every other week for a brand new video. Next time, well, let's just say I've got a huge project in the works for an official release later this month. And trust me when I say, you're gonna really love it. So, until then everyone, this is Gaijin Goomba, signing out.